All right, so today we are going to do a follow up on last week's episode, which is about New Year's resolution and how I am completely so done with them because they're just everyone just kind of does them every year out of out of just like habit, and then basically that's the only part of the habit that sticks, just making the resolution. But anyway, I have Erica here, who is a professional. I call her a professional trainer, but she has a lot more to say about that. So I'm gonna let her introduce herself, and we're gonna hear what she has to say about resolutions and all that jazz. Go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, yep. My name's Erica, and I own a gym called Highland Fitness and Performance. And I would call myself a professional coach. Gym's been open almost 2 years. Been working towards this prior to that with other gyms, learning how to, hone my craft of coaching. And then I ended up opening up my own space and creating my own culture when it comes to fitness. So that's what I do.
Excellent. And personal experience, she says, that's what I do. But, having been to the classes, it's a mixture of making you feel really capable and slightly inadequate at the same time. But
It's a gift.
hey, you know what? You're not the one that's making me feel inadequate. It's like everybody at your gym is insane. uh,
Yeah.
you're like, hey,
Yeah.
we're gonna do this exercise. I'm like, okay, and I'm just watching them, and they're all like just flying off the wall. I'm like, and I went to the 9 a.m. class that time, but normally it's like what you start at like 5 a.m. You got some
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
got
Yeah.
some
Early.
real
Yeah.
early
I got some.
risers.
I know. Well, that's the problem. Like, do I personally want a 5 a.m. class? No. But there are people like the 5 a.m. class is so funny because they are so structured. They know, like, they come in because they have their day starts early. So if they're going to
Mm,
work out, 5 a.m. is their time. And so, yes, we offer 5 a.m. classes.
yeah. So speaking of go-getters and New Year's resolutions and stuff, so last time
Yeah.
I was saying that basically, the reason why I'm done with resolutions in general is just because it's so abstract and everybody's just kind of like, I'm gonna get fit, I'm gonna eat healthy, but there's no plan with it. There's no like core steps of how you're gonna get there, right? And so for me, I've been kind of just this past half a year-ish, making little changes to my own life. But when I look at like New Year's, right, all the ads start coming out, and I know there's obviously a big uptick in like attendance and new memberships at like the big box gyms, right? People think like I'm gonna get fit, and they immediately think of like Planet Fitness and the likes of that.
Yeah.
Which I've had memberships there before and I've used it before, but I will say like there were like months where I was like really active, and then I did let it just sit there and just take my money,
Yeah.
not use it at all. Um,
Correct.
yeah, so because but the boutique gyms tend to have a different experience, right? Like even when you coach at 10 kicks, I think people will come in, but because there's more of a one-on-one and interpersonal relationship
Hmm.
at boutique gyms, that and I would say more like not necessarily boutique gyms where people just come in and do their own thing anyway,
Yeah.
but even still, I
I
guess
mean,
like yeah, I guess the memberships alone is reason enough to keep coming in and actually using it, right?
well, yeah. I mean, you find like-minded people and you connect with those people. Um, you may, you'll start seeing the same people at the same time, and people notice when you're not there.
Mm,
uh, Everyone's like, "Oh, where's so and so? I haven't seen them for a week,"
yeah.
and that there's a lot of value in that. there's a lot of accountability, and there really is something to be said about surrounding yourself with people who are better than you. I mean, there's nothing better than being the worst at something and then having people to inspire you, or
Yeah.
you're like, okay, I'm going to work towards, or seeing someone who's done that. They were there, they were once you
Hmm.
years ago, right? And so there's no but that's why like group classes work. One, you don't have to worry about programming, you don't have to think about it, that's taken care of for you. It's procured specifically to reach specific goals,
Hmm.
and everyone has the same goals. They may just be at different levels. And there's nothing wrong with that. I love that. I love having a brand new person back squatting, and maybe 100 pounds is a big deal for them, and the person next to them is back squatting 300 plus pounds.
Insane.
But the goal is the exact same regardless of their skill level. The goal is their exact same, and it's to do a correct back squat and get stronger in that. And that is what's so great about group classes, right? There's everyone has the exact same goals, they're just at different levels. And I when you start to connect with people in a group class setting, that's where the power of joining those type of gyms is super important. And finding your people, right? You got to find people that you want to be around. And that is always what you're trying to procure as my gym, what I'm trying
Yeah.
to create, making sure I have that type of culture and community.
Yeah, which is very different than again the big box gyms where you just go in and you pay for the membership. They make it super easy to sign up and you just
Yep.
show up and do whatever you want to do, whether you do it correctly or not, doesn't really matter to them anyway. And it almost is like less pressure for someone who's
Hmm.
like starting out, but realistically it's like less pressure but also less commitment, as you said, like accountability, right? So for me
Yeah.
it's like when it comes to resolutions, I mean, I know you have a lot of thoughts about it. Like, why do you think it fails so often?
Okay. So I have two perspectives when it comes to New Year's resolutions. And my perspective is definitely like lived experience when it comes to New Year's resolutions. The holidays, whether or not you celebrate the holidays or you have these big grandiose events during Thanksgiving and Christmas time, or whatever holiday you celebrate during the month of November and December, it all leads up to making you feel really bad about yourself. The marketing of every company that comes out, they're slowly starting to put out like all these new health trends or all of these like coined terms to make you start shifting the way you think about yourself. And then you're always really busy. Like everyone's really busy. Again, even if you don't have a busy holiday season, people still feel it. Like we have this time stamp of, okay, I just got to make it through December, and then I'm going to
Mhm.
get my shit together starting January. But the reality is, let's say you want, like, starting January 1st, I'm going to train for a marathon in April. 4 months is a good time enough time for you to get proper training to
Yeah.
do that if that was an elaborate goal you were making.
Yeah.
But if you've never done a 5K, like a fun run, like where you signed up and you had to be there on time and then you had to go run a 5K,
Hmm.
making these big goals when you haven't done any of the small work that it takes to achieve these big goals. And um, I am this way. I'm an all or nothing, and I have 100% failed on that mentality. So when I talk about like achieving goals, like, so if someone brand new comes into the gym, and let's say they sign up beginning of January, they're like, this is my year to get fit.
Yeah.
And all I'm going to say to them is, great. All I want you to focus on is getting here 2 to 3 times a week. I don't want you to worry about anything else. I want you to be able to create a consistent habit of coming 2 times a week, 3 times a week, right? Something that fits in with your schedule, making sure that you don't think that has to be a 6 days a week to get fit, because you will burn out. You'll hate it, honestly. right? And it becomes like it's like too big of a process. um, our marketing system is super clever and really good at shifting at the way we think about ourselves, think about, oh, I'm lazy, or I should be doing more of this, or you're on Instagram, it's constant ads for all these new things, and it gets overwhelming. It sets you up for failure. And that's why, like, the beginning of the year is such an interesting time to create goals, because we really haven't done the work leading up to starting these big goals, right?
Hmm.
You do a top tier, like a tier down on a goal, big goal.
Yeah.
Let's say something as simple as, okay, I'm going to lose weight.
Yeah.
I want to lose a certain amount of weight, right? Because that will make me feel better about myself. It'll bring down my markers for my medical, like blood pressure, diabetes, anything that could be
Yeah.
bad for your health, right? So you're just like, okay, I want to be able to like lose some pounds so I can be in a healthier lifestyle. Well, that's really hard to do. Like, everyone makes it seem like it's like, a black and white situation, but it's actually far more complicated. So then I will have them break it down into a smaller system, right? Okay, what are three things in order to lose weight? What are the three things that we have to start achieving? Okay, one, I have to focus on my nutrition. So that's one bubble.
Hmm.
The second bubble will be sleep. How is my sleep? Am I paying attention to that? Am I creating good sleeping habits? And then the third one might be, okay, move more. So now I have a big goal of losing weight, getting healthy, and then I'll have three smaller sections that breaks it down. And then within those three bubbles, I'll maybe write even more bubbles. Okay, so if
Yeah.
let's take sleep. Sleep is going to be one I'm going to focus on. Okay, how am I going to do that? My phone's going to be turned off by 8. I'm not going to look at any technology. I'm going to focus on being able to like turn my brain off, right? And that takes practice, you know, and then creating like small little habits to lead up to something as simple as sleeping more.
Yeah.
If I just make a simple goal as like, I'm going to get more sleep. Okay, you have to create steps in order to achieve
Right.
those. Um, Same thing with fitness, moving more. I'm going to focus on moving more um, throughout the week,
Yeah.
right? Whether that's 10,000 steps a day. Sometimes I hear so much different validity about if that's actually an accurate assessment. But I think, the reality is like we do need to make sure we're moving more every day. And that
Yeah.
isn't intense. It doesn't need to be an intense movement,
Right.
right? Breaking things down and trying to make everything as simple as possible. Perfect the simplest tasks
Hmm.
and then move on up the chain to the more difficult tasks, you know,
Yeah.
because that's how you create habits, as opposed to, I'm not losing weight, I'm starving myself, I haven't done any, like I'm exercising all the time and I'm practically not eating anything, I'm on some fad diet, whatever these fad diets are out there. And yeah, your body is not going to do it because it takes a long
Right.
time to really start building up the small habits.
Yeah.
So in January, after, if you've been drinking and eating and enjoying your time with friends and
Yeah.
family, wait, have some grace. Enjoy times with friends and family.
And, yeah,
Um,
and I mean, you mentioned like have some grace, right? I think like one of the issues is that failure is such a big deal. And I want
mhm,
to say like not just failure in general, but like micro failure is such a big deal, right? So let's say you say I'm going to put my phone away starting at 8, right? But then you have an emergency come up. Some kind of thing where you're like, "Hey, my mom is really sick, right? And I'm waiting to hear back and whatever." So you kind of need your phone on. You make an
yeah,
exception. And when we make exceptions, I feel like two things happen. One is we make it okay to make more exceptions. And two is that we judge ourselves for making that exception. Well, I was going to take my phone off, whatever. Ugh. And then, like, you make more exceptions. And then the next thing you know, you're kind of like, whatever, I'm over it. I'm going back to
you're
doing
doom
whatever,
scrolling
right?
till 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like, one is like, exceptions do happen, right? So like one of my changes was that I recognize that I'm fatigued all the time, whether it's from getting sick, and then when we went to China, I had Chinese COVID, altitude sickness, plus like I was on my period. And so I had this insane headache for like 4 days straight where nothing was helping. I was like mixing ibuprofen and acetaminophen, and I was just like, please, just let this fucking throbbing pain stop, right? And then I come back and I've like had all these random issues since.
Mm-hmm.
And even before then, right? We had COVID, we had RSV, we had this and that where I like exposed all the time. And so I'm like, aside from being sick, aside from just like being cooped up for like 2 fucking years, right? All of these things, like my body's just so used to being tired. And I'm like, what the fuck? I can't get anything done. And as soon as I start something, something else happens, whether it's a family thing, whether it's a work thing, projects that's like piling up, or like some kind of deadline, right? All these things happen. And I'm just tired all the time. And and then there's been this trend of like be kind to yourself, right? That has been a trend. It's a thing, right? And everybody's like, oh,
Yes.
okay, you're tired, rest, you deserve to rest, you
Yes.
deserve to rest. Eventually you need to stop resting, because I'm like,
Yes.
I'm tired all the time and I'm resting all the time. And this is funny because I was like, I tell my chat GPT to be like brutally honest with me. I'm like, hey, don't fluff me up, right? Like I need to know what the fuck is up. And it actually said, it was like, you can't just like, it basically was like, you can't just use fatigue as an excuse. Just fucking go do shit. And I'm like, okay, yeah, you're right. And as much as I know this, it's our lives kind of trend, right? We do things
Yeah.
and then we keep doing things.
Yes.
And like, you'd mentioned this, that, quitting, like we're pretty much wired to quit,
Yes.
right? And so it's like very easy to be like, oh, I'm tired. I'm not gonna do it. I'm tired. I'm not gonna do it. I'll train when I'm rested, right? And even if I'm like, okay, I want to grind rank, like for my gaming stuff, I'm like, oh, I want to grind rank. I want to get to a certain rank, and then I'm like, oh, I can't focus right now. I'm just gonna play the random one where I get to just dick around, right? Instead
Yeah.
of like actually grinding something. My health
Yeah.
stuff, I'm like, oh, I'm too tired to like go get groceries and eat healthy. I'm just gonna eat whatever's around. And that's like so
Yes.
easy to just kind of be like, whatever, and just,
I
yeah.
think the difficult part is finding the balance. Um, you know, as something as simple as this is so, this may be a little too simple, but I try to think, unless I'm sick, okay, there's a complete difference. I try to not miss 2 days of working out.
Mm,
And I don't mean 2 hard days of back to back
yeah.
grind workouts. Um, Meaning like I'm gonna make sure that I don't sit on the couch for 2 days straight, right? And have zero movement in my life.
Yeah.
So when I say don't miss 2 days of working out, that's essentially what I mean, right?
Okay.
Let's say I go to the gym, my gym, and I'll do workouts that I program. I'll do that. And if I'm feeling really fatigued, or I'm like, wow, I went too hard, I don't know if I can do that again the next day.
Yeah.
There are two ways I'll either handle it. I'll either go, okay, I'm gonna walk, walk my dogs. I'll do a good walk with them. Or if I want to go to the gym, I'll focus on healthy movement and not intensity.
Right.
Right. So I can still create healthy movement within my program or within the workout of the day. And maybe I'm not going as heavy or I'm not moving as fast, but I'm still moving.
Yeah.
Um, and if you do, when it comes to working out, if you're new to working out, you kind of have to get over the barrier of what it feels like to be sore.
Yeah.
You kind of have to push through that. Like you definitely want to have a good trainer that's not like putting you in a position of being unsafe.
Yeah.
But at some point, you just got to do it, and you don't have to enjoy it.
Hmm.
And I think that's something that's really, there's a lot of value in recognizing that you don't have to enjoy everything you do in life, but you still have to do it. When it comes to your health and movement and getting strong and getting good cardio health, there is no shortcuts to that. There isn't. There is
Yeah.
nothing but doing it, doing the work that will get you past that barrier. And it's going to be hard. If I have someone who comes in who has never worked out, I am setting them up for success. Meaning, I'm like, you are going to you're going to come today. Let's say you come Monday. I want to
Hmm.
see you Wednesday, and I want to see you Friday. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you can do whatever you want. I
Yeah.
don't need you to like do anything crazy, right?
Yeah.
Because getting over the barrier, sometimes pushing through that is something that we have to be comfortable with. You're tired all the time, butter. You need to start figuring out the steps. Like, where is it that I'm getting exhausted from? Why am I tired all the
Yeah.
time? What is my food? Am I eating enough? A lot of times people don't eat enough because we live in this diet culture society.
Yeah.
You go, okay, let's say you use my fitness pal or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I do. Yeah.
That thing tells me like you should be eating 1,200 calories.
Yeah. That
That's like
thing's messed up.
that's starvation
Yeah.
for
I've
my
seen it.
body.
I've seen it. I
Yeah,
was like, I was just playing
yeah,
with the numbers, and I'm like, you should not be recommending this to anybody.
no,
This is horrible.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and there are formulas out there to know how much food you should be consuming, how many calories you need to consume
Yeah.
just to exist. That means
Yeah.
you never got off the couch, right?
Yeah.
So those numbers, like, this is why it's not like my fitness pal, like, oh, eat 1,200 calories a day and then work out, and then you're not going to have any energy for working out. Then you're going to be tired all the time. So there's so many factors on constant exhaustion.
Yeah.
Um, to create energy or to be energy, you have to create energy.
Mm.
And that is by eating the correct amount of food.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm not talking only eat chicken, rice, and broccoli, right? Like that's no way to live. But you definitely have to be
I
mindful
appreciate that.
of like how much you're consuming, right? Making sure I'm eating enough because that is our only fuel is food. So if you don't eat enough to move,
Yeah.
then your movement is gonna suck. It's gonna be impacted big time. And then sometimes you just have to buck up and do it,
Yeah.
right?
I
Like
think the buck up and do it is like underrated because
yeah,
like I'm saying, look, I'm all for like self-kindness, right? Like there are times where I screw something up and I'm all for just recognizing the objective failure part. Like what did I mess up on without
yeah,
judging myself for screwing up, right? Because everybody makes
yeah.
mistakes, right? But
Oh yeah,
and then I see people who are like, "Oh, don't judge yourself so hard." And yes, I'm making that weird voice because it's like it becomes almost avoidance culture
yeah.
where
You
n-
negotiate with yourself.
yeah, it's like, oh, I screwed up, but it's okay that I screw up. Everybody screws up without actually looking at where you messed up to grow from it. And that you're just
Yeah,
avoiding like taking
yeah,
any responsibility, where it's like it's okay to take responsibility and still forgive yourself and be kind to yourself at the same time. And I feel like that part has been like suppressed to the
yeah.
extent where everybody is so okay with just sucking.
Being
Okay.
mediocre in
Yeah,
life.
exactly. Exactly. And
Yeah,
like even myself, right? I'm saying I was like, okay, why is this happening? And I'm like, why am I always tired all the time? And I'm like, I trained my own AI to tell me to shut the fuck up, basically. It was like, just go and do something, right? So I was like, okay, what do I do?
yeah,
And ultimately, I'm like, and then everybody has different body types, right? Like I can't train like Cole, who's a professional fighter. Like my
yeah.
body just and my body type is different, right? Also like male
Now that
versus
even
female and everything.
even taking Cole, he couldn't how he trains now.
Yeah.
He couldn't train how he's training now when he first joined 10 kicks.
Yeah.
He's trained his body to train how he is now. And now it's like primed for it.
Yeah.
He didn't like, yeah, he's tall, he's lean, he's young, he's fit. He was
Yeah.
always fit when he came in. But getting him like when he first joined 10 kicks, he
Yeah.
wasn't he and not because he's, lazy. It was just because it was new. Like he doesn't
Right.
so where he's at now in his training is because of years of building up to where he's at now, which is why he's a professional fighter.
Right.
Someone who's new into 10 kicks will not be able to train like Cole. Maybe it's a goal of theirs, but building up the consistency will be the only thing that will get that person into Cole's level of training.
Yeah.
And
And
that's really, it's just time. It's
uh,
time, like time under belt, right? He's done it for years and
right.
he's built up to that type of conditioning, but he wasn't that conditioned like that when he first started. And I think like when you go to like 10 kicks or when you go to gyms like mine, if you compare yourself, I always just try to say they've just been doing this longer.
Yeah.
It's not because they're better than you,
Right.
they've just been doing it longer. And I think that is where the grace should come in, not where I'm like, oh, I'm tired. I'm going to do self care day. No, 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 no. That's not going to
Every
get you to
day
where you
becomes self-care day.
every day becomes self-care day, and then you don't end up getting to where
Yeah.
the reason why you came to the gym, right?
Yeah.
You wanted to learn how to fight when you go to 10 kicks, right? You wanted to have something fun to train for, right? It's irrelevant on if they ever want to actually do a fight.
Right.
Training at 10 kicks is good because you're learning a skill, like you're learning skills,
Yeah.
and you're getting a good workout while you're learning something, which is why gyms like 10 kicks, my gym where I have a lot of high level skill sets, that keeps you excited, keeps you
Yep.
wanting to do that, right? And that's how people stay. That's why even if you never fight, like even if you never did like a competition, like a CrossFit competition, I'm still going to train this way. I am nowhere near anywhere being good
Like,
at anything that I do. But I will always have people who are better than I am, but it doesn't take away
yeah.
from my fitness
Yeah,
or
I
where
will
I'm at in
I will
my
say
training.
those CrossFit competitions look insane.
I know those people
I'm
are
like,
crazy.
I feel like I watch fights, I'm like, yeah, that I could do that. I don't mind getting punched in the face at all. I really don't care. Like, if somebody hits me, I'm like, okay, And then I
Yeah,
watch somebody like do the ball toss thing, whatever the fuck it is, the med ball thing, and I'm like,
it's a
what
wall.
is
It's a wall balls.
happening? Wall ball. There was one.
A wall
Okay,
ball.
okay. Since I started like talking to you and things like that, like I get these things in my feeds that I'm watching, and there was one where they had these the jump boxes like stacked all the way up, and they're doing like
A
squat,
fucking wall
and
ball.
they're like throwing the ball back and forth as a competition.
Yeah.
I was like, are you guys
Yeah.
crazy?
Yes. Yes.
And they
Yes.
did it till like somebody failed. I'm like, that's insane.
It's fun.
And it's a huge. Okay, as the size makes it difficult as well as the weight, but then they're like squatting and throwing over this box. I'm like, these people are
Yeah.
nuts, and they can't even see it coming. The
No,
boxes are stacked so high, and
that's
it's
the
like, ah,
fun.
that's nuts.
That's what makes it fun.
I'd
Yeah,
rather
I
get
love
hit in the
going.
face. Okay.
Well, so that's the funny thing, right? You're surrounded by people who fight,
Yeah.
and they're constantly getting punched in the face or choked out or in these really weird panicking positions. And it's fun. You find like-minded people where you're like, God, that was really fun. I got my ass kicked in that sparring session. That was so great.
Yeah.
At my gym, like we'll have like, heavy weights. We're trying to move fast and safely and, coupled up with like a gymnastic movement. And it's, it's weirdly fun. I can't, it's like type two fun, not fun in the moment, but when you're finished, you're like, damn, that was fun. That's what like fighting and CrossFit gyms, they're like type two fun. And then you just start to find people. So I think like if you do make, trying to circle back to like a New Year's resolution, is one is finding something that you enjoy,
Mhm.
right? Like that's the most important thing. If you don't enjoy a fitness program
Yeah.
in whatever capacity that is, uh, that's harder to stick with,
Yeah.
right? So enjoying and being surrounded by people, like-minded people, that there's a lot of value in that. And that's what keeps you motivated. And I that's why like run clubs are so popular, right? People like to join run clubs because they want to get better at running. So they want to run with people and, never fear being the slowest person. There's a lot of value and a lot of integrity and character in an individual who can go and still show up even though they're the worst of the group. I have so much more respect for that than about anyone than anything. And I because we're putting ourselves in an uncomfortable situation of being the in last place
Yeah.
or the last one to finish. Like I admire that wholeheartedly, and it's something I try to um, live by. I try to never be afraid. I mean, I didn't go pro, but when I put myself in, the cage to fight, I won some, I lost more than I won, but I every single time I did it, I just that those experiences are never going to be taken away from me, and it's
Yeah.
what has shaped me into who I am, and it has shaped me into being a coach for someone who wants to get better at something. Um, and I make sure, so if I have someone new that's coming in, I've got them. Like I'm not gonna leave them hanging, or I'm not gonna let them know that they did great today. These things are hard. I know how to scale every movement to everyone's skill level.
Hmm.
And so New Year's resolutions, we all make the same similar ones, right? Well, I don't know, maybe modern times we're like less time on social media, right? Like that's a good one to do.
Maybe.
But really, I really just, fitness is always like the number one. It's like an easy
Yeah.
New Year's resolution because everyone knows that we have to have fitness in our life. It's our only superpower,
Yeah, and
right?
we've kind of like based on all the computer work and all of that stuff, it's
Yeah.
just really one of those things where a lot of people are just lacking by default.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So it is hard, but we can do hard things. You know, as humans, as our species has evolved, we're only here because of all of the hard things our ancestors have done for us. We learned how to run, to hunt down food. I don't exist if my ancestors didn't figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
And so we're designed to be more than what we give ourselves credit. And our bodies are quite capable of doing far more than we realize. It's this
Yeah.
that will stop you. It's the
Yeah.
discomfort stop you. And there's, and keeping those things in mind is going to be, there's always a reason to not do something. 1,000% you will negotiate yourself to not doing something every
Yeah.
single time. I remember my first time fighting. I think I was like, in my mind, I was like, how do I get out of this? How do I get out of this? Why did I agree
Wow.
to
Okay.
this? Like, why am I doing this? And I was more embarrassed chickening out than actually getting my ass kicked, right? So
Hey, there's
I,
something to that.
yes, because then I was like, oh, now I'm a quitter. And I didn't like
Yeah.
that feeling, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Um, and I wanted to, I was more embarrassed about talking myself out of doing something that was terrifying. And, let's be honest, I know fighting sounds crazy, but, for your first fights, it's very controlled and it's very safe. I mean, you still are fighting someone, but nothing bad is going to happen, until you get up into the higher levels, right? But and it's that, setting those goals and creating that intention and, putting yourself and like actually practicing something that you care about.
Yeah.
There's a lot of value in that, right? I wanted to get better at fighting. So I was going to put myself in a situation where someone who was better than me was going to, try to punch me in my face. And I had to be okay with that.
Yeah.
And, but I cared enough to want to get better. And I didn't know I didn't have no idea where it was going to lead me. That was irrelevant, right? It was just like I was very focused on the moment.
Yeah. And I think like, it definitely, obviously, it definitely helps to have a good coach, regardless of what it is you're doing, right? But at the same time, I've seen people work with shitty coaches and still be able to get certain things done, right? Get to a
Yeah,
certain
yeah,
point.
absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
like you just if you want to do something, you're just gonna do it, right?
Yeah.
Good, bad, ugly, it's just gonna happen. But
Yeah.
we do have the options now to have decent coaches and to have people who like like you said, you want to set up your new clients up for success. Obviously, you want to set up all your clients up for success, but like
Yeah.
for new people, it's like especially difficult. And I think it's also like one of the things for me is that coming from the East Coast, coming from like such a like sharp like what's it called like steel
I'm
sharpens steel
assuming you
type of
don't
thing.
talk.
That type of thing, the way that we are is just very much like, okay, let's go. We're very much like a let's go. Here it's very much like everybody kind of soothe each other type of thing, and it's like it's almost uncomfortable for me. I'm like, just tell me if I'm sucking so I can like stop doing it, right? But like you have to like approach people very differently, and like I realize I'm like it's different. I have to talk to different people differently. And you know like even before, like I used to run drills for soccer teams and stuff, right? And but we again, like I'm from New York, so for us it's just like shut the fuck up and go.
Yeah.
There is no like, okay guys,
You
you guys
want
are
to do
doing great.
this. You should want to do this. Like,
There,
this
yeah,
is important.
yeah,
Yes,
I'm
I
like, I
know.
don't have to convince anybody of anything. I'm here to tell you what to do, and there is no like complaining to me. The other day, somebody came to me and was like, "Oh my God, I hate you. You did legs after we did legs." And I'm like, I cannot believe that's a thing right now. I'm like, how dare you come complain to me when I spent the time, right? I was like, I spent the time to program something that pushes everybody's physical limitations,
Yeah.
no matter what level you're at. And the way I do it is like I kind of yo-yo the difficulty from round
Yeah.
to round, right? And everybody does it differently. Everybody kind of programs things differently. And then like, oh, I'm like, I went to Stanley. I was like, hey, I'm doing legs today. Can you do arms? And he's like, yeah. And then Tom was like, no, do legs. She's like, I want to do legs. And she's taking the class. And he's like, okay, I guess we're doing legs. I'm like, I guess we're doubling out because I'm not changing mine. And he's like, yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. Like, they'll just deal with it, right? And then I'm getting like, oh my God, we just did legs. And I'm like, honestly, I don't fucking feel bad for you because I do it all the time. I will
Yeah.
just like do full on legs until I die. And I'm okay
Yeah.
with that. Like you said, be okay with being sore, right? Be okay with like that recovery
Yeah.
process and just,
Yeah.
you're not going to feel 100% all the time. But
No.
it like the culture's crazy. The culture's different, right? So like finding the right coach for what you want to do is
Yeah.
is pretty important.
Yeah. The funny thing about back to back leg days blows my mind because I'm like, what? Your legs are your lifeline. Like, build those bad boys up.
Yeah,
Like, this is how you get around. Like,
right.
be happy that we are. I mean, every day should be a leg day, honestly, right? Unless I'm resting, but I'm walking for God, I'm always walking around.
Yeah.
Like, you're not, it's not like I can never not use my legs. Like, I always find that really interesting about, oh, my legs is too much. And I'm like, dude, this is your vehicle for moving. Unless you have no legs
Yeah.
or, you know, in a wheelchair, right? There every day for people in wheelchair is arm day. I mean, goodness, you think they complain about arm day every day?
It's
No, this
crazy.
is their lifeline, right? So you build up what you have, you make it strong, you make it bulletproof. I mean,
Yeah.
yes, of course there's rest days. Of course there
Yeah.
are rest days, but
I'm
you know,
I
I'm
mean,
not
my thing is like,
benching 400 pounds every day or anything.
yeah, I think like when they said that to me, my mind was kind of blown because I think what I realized is like frame of mind is so important, and I'm so used to trying to find, not even trying, I guess like once you get, it's like another habit, right? When you're used to looking at the silver lining of everything. Like for me,
Yeah,
I did the workout too. Well, the first part, I did the barbell stuff, and then like even during the demos, I'm like, first of all, I was on vacation, and then I haven't done shit for like ages. So me doing the
yeah,
barbell and all the squats and the split squats, and I was doing like the slow down thing, which was
hmm,
like really fucking horrible.
yeah,
If you haven't been doing anything, it really like gets to you. And then I was like trying to do the demo, and I was trying to bring the energy for the group, making sure that I'm like, so I can't like sit there and be like, oh, my legs are sore and they're tired and I can't do this. I'm just like, just power through it. And the next day, I'm like going downstairs to get coffee, right? And I was like holding
Yeah, you're
onto the
sore.
wall to
Yeah.
get downstairs. And then I seriously was contemplating just drinking my coffee downstairs before I came up because I was like, I don't want to be carrying something and having to walk up the stairs. But like for me, my thought is like, "Ooh, I need to do this more." My
Yeah.
first thought is like, "Oof, I need to be doing this
Yeah.
more so that
You know,
I don't have this thing." I felt like I'm used to being stronger, and but it wasn't like a oh that sucked kind of thing. It was more just like I need to be better
yeah.
versus like huh doing it like back to back legs or whatever. I'm like, man, the mindset is really difficult, and that's like same thing when I do the when I'm like, oh, I'm constantly fatigued and I'm waiting to
Yeah.
feel better. And one of the things was like, don't wait till you feel better to do something that you know you should be doing or that you want to be doing, right? Don't
Yeah.
wait
And
for it.
you could always play around with the intensity of the workout, right? You're feeling it really hard, like from one day because you started, like if you've been out for a couple of weeks and then all of a sudden you go back to lifting how you were before you were out, yeah, you're going to be sore. And then so like the next day, you can always manage that with how heavy you go or how
Mm-hmm.
many reps you go, right? Like there's always ways to manage it while you're still benefiting from it without not if you think you work out 100% every day with intensity, you'd be wrong because true intensity is achieving that 100% effort. And it isn't something you can train every day,
Yeah.
right? So, like, one day will be a really intense workout, the next day will be a low intensity workout, right? Like, you know, maybe it's just a cardio day, a moving
Yeah.
day, body weight movements, not heavy lifting or, speed on a workout or something like that. It's like, if you had someone who was fighting every day, they're 100%, it would just start going down because they can't keep that up, right? Which
Yeah.
is why fighters don't fight every day. But yeah, I mean, there's always ways to manage it, but there
Yeah.
there is like, yeah, you sore. I'm sorry, you'll be okay.
Yeah.
We'll get through it,
I'm
and
like,
then
I'm not
and
even
then this
sorry.
well, you're not even sorry, but it becomes more manageable. You're able to
Yeah.
manage it in a better way.
Yeah.
Here's another take I have on New Year's resolutions. It's not as detailed, but
Yeah.
you know, this is coming from how our circadian rhythm actually works.
Okay.
January 1st is in the middle of winter.
Yeah.
It's not even the middle of winter. It's like at the beginning of winter.
Yeah.
We like if we are in a hunker down maintenance mode, we are not in this big gains explosive mode,
Yeah.
in our circadian rhythm of how we've evolved as human beings, right? I would say spring equinox is when,
For sure.
things start to come to life, like plants start coming back to life,
Yeah.
animals are more out and
Animals,
about,
exactly. I was saying the same thing.
food is a little bit more in abundance. And
Yep.
like, so for me personally, I don't make New Year's resolutions for the reason that I'm in hibernation mode still. Like,
That's a really big one that nobody thinks about. It's
yeah,
always
it's
like,
dark all the time. Do you think
yeah,
I'm like training for a marathon on January 1st? No, there's no daylight.
that's why
I
you
am
don't
going
let the
to
calendar dictate. It's
No,
crazy.
never, ever,
Yeah.
ever, ever.
That is
I
such a
always,
good
I always
point.
like, yeah, and I just try to like, through the winter, we are in maintenance mode.
Yeah.
We are continuing the habits that we've created throughout the year. I'm resting when I need to rest because of like not having daylight is a big
Yeah.
factor on us. Like sad, which is like seasonal. I don't know what the A stands for, depression, but it's like
Yeah.
people kind of get a little depressed in the wintertime because
Yeah.
there's no sun.
Yeah.
And I that's okay. Right? Like that's a very normal. I mean, I'm not a bear, but I wish I were a bear where I can just sleep all winter and then come out, you
All
know,
living things slow
ready to go
down
for
with lower
spring,
temperature,
right?
no?
Yeah, everything slows
Sometimes,
down and life slows down out there, even though our actual society doesn't, right?
yeah.
And so thinking that we have to hit the grind in the middle of winter is crazy to me, right?
That is pretty insane.
Yeah, I'm maintaining and I'm building up for spring.
Yeah.
I'm ready for like when the sun comes back out, the weather starts to get a little bit warmer, you know, plants are coming back to life. That's really like the natural circadian rhythm of,
Yeah.
so creating these big goals in the middle of winter, man. No wonder we all quit on January 9th because we're still
This is
trying to
true.
like hibernate.
This is true. This is true. All right.
That
Well,
was always like, I remember having fights in January where
oh
saying
my
like, oh my
God.
God, I have to
Yeah.
keep my
Yeah,
shit
people are
together all
looking
through
at fights like even
December.
like February. I'm like, okay, so you're basically trying to get going. And like at least at
Yeah.
the fight gym, like the vibe, you can kind of dictate the vibe, right? Depending on what's
Yeah.
going on. Which like
Yeah.
having fights happening coming up really kind of gets everybody else motivated a little bit too, gets
Yeah.
everybody else excited. Um,
Yeah.
but I wanted to circle back to what you were saying about, building up with little blocks, right? You were talking about like little
Yeah.
bubbles of things to do and
Yeah.
things like that. And so I think one of my questions for everybody else is that there's like the fitness part, right? There's the eating healthy and there's a sleep thing. And there's hydration, which people forget
Yeah.
about. Um, like I feel like maybe hydration. People think hydration is easy, but it's kind of not. So like at least for me, it's like because life for me life gets in the way. I'm weird about this, right? I'm like, okay, I'm going to this place. Like if I'm gonna be driving for like an hour and a half, I don't want to have to like stop to pee. So I have to like make sure that I'm drinking enough to hydrate myself, but also I'm not like having to stop every 20 minutes to fucking
Yeah.
find a Starbucks, right? But so basically it's like okay, we have these four major groups of goal areas or areas that we want to target, right? And I think
Yeah.
like for a lot of people, for some people they hit one at a time. For some people, I think, or for a lot of people I know, it's like the fitness and the eating kind of go hand in
Yeah.
hand.
Mhm.
And sometimes I feel like it like sets you up for failure to target both things at the same time. So I'm
Mhm.
wondering if you one is like, do you think it's relatively easily doable to hit both things at the same time, or all three things, all four things at the same time? Or do you think there's like an order that is like best for setting yourself up for success?
Yeah, taking on too much all at once, making drastic changes in very specific aspects of your life is daunting and very difficult. If so, for me, I can't speak on everyone's nutrition, right? I'm not a dietitian and I'm not a
Mhm.
nutritionist, right? I know basic stuff that you can learn from Chat GPT, right?
Yeah.
I have lived experience because I've done fights or um, I know what it takes to like maintain muscle. So I definitely try to hit, protein targets and I know what that does for you. Um, so that's where my experience comes from with nutrition. But I would try to be a little bit, I would try to be more specific in areas where you want to build change. So if you're sleeping or your hydration is an area, then that's something you want to focus on. Then you would just write out, or you would buy a water bottle, and you're like, okay, I need to drink 3 of these throughout the day. You don't need to drink like a gallon of water a day. That's a lot. You're also getting water from coffee, even though that's dehydrating. You still are getting liquid.
Yeah.
You get water from your foods. So a gallon a day is an excessive amount. But there's another thing. If you're a big time sweater and you are like you sweat a lot
Hmm.
in a workout and then you lose a lot of salt, that changes the way how much hydration you need to replace, right? So it's all real specific. But if I'm going to be as simple as possible, is I would absolutely focus on one thing at a time.
So if I came to you, right, if I'm like brand new client, you
Yeah,
don't know me at all, I'm
yeah,
like, I want to pay you for everything. You just tell me what to do with my life for 2026. Okay, I'm like I need to eat better. I need to work out more. I want to get fit. I know I need to sleep better and hydrate whatever. So I'm like if I were to tell that to you, I'm like give me a plan for what
yeah,
I should do, where if I go like hydration first for a little bit, right? And then it's like, okay, once you get this step done in the hydration, and then you do like, do I hit my nutrition next, and then the fitness, like what bit where, how to
Yeah.
kind of build everything up together or separately. There are
Yeah.
times when you move at the same time, right? You move two pillars at the same time. There are times where you move one more than the other, and the rest kind of holds steady. So what would you
So,
say? Like, what were your
okay,
plan
well,
for me?
hydration, I probably wouldn't talk too much about that, um, because most people don't dehydrate themselves to death, you know,
Yes.
or we don't overdrink water. We don't drink so much water that it's like becomes toxic to us. We don't really get
Mm,
ourselves in those situations. So water isn't something that I would, make it a factor right out of the gate. I would make sure that they are committed to 3 days a week of just getting into the gym. And then I'll take care of the rest when it comes to fitness. Just do exactly what I say. When I
mm,
say it, you're going to be okay.
yeah.
For food, I would keep it really simple with food because I wouldn't want to get into the nitty gritty of it. The thing I would focus on is incorporating more protein, making sure you have protein at every meal. Whatever form of protein you want, I would keep it simple, right? For someone who wants to be a high level athlete and wants performance behind that, that has a much different topic of conversation, far
Hmm.
more detailed.
Yeah.
But for the average person, I would keep it pretty simple and like, you know what? Just work out 3 days a week here. That's it. For 7 days. I don't care what you do with the other four. And then when we start creating those habits, then I'd be like, oh, maybe you should come in one more day a week. Or what are you doing on your days off? Do you go for walks? Are you doing mindful stretching? Like, or things that make you feel good. Are you moving your body? Right. You don't
Hmm.
have to be doing crazy workouts 7 days a week, but I'd start off really easy. I was like, the only thing I want you to focus on is 3 days a week at the gym
Yeah.
here and hitting your protein,
And
your daily protein intake.
and the funny thing is, even if you do that for the rest of the year, that's a pretty good
You'd make
that's a
drastic
pretty good
changes in your
lifestyle.
lifestyle.
That's a
Yeah.
huge
Yeah.
deal.
Everyone thinks it's so daunting, like this
Exactly.
massive process to get to
Yeah.
where you want to be. So the reality is if you just focused on these small little changes,
Yeah.
they add up like crazy. They really do. And
Yeah.
so because yeah, I don't want to be bombarded with what I should be doing or what I shouldn't be doing,
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I try not to, I don't want to be that for people as well.
Yeah. So, hey, it sounds like really the resolution is just show up
Yeah,
a
just get
few
that out of
times.
your head.
Show up a few times, right? Commit to a few days. It doesn't have to be exact
To a
days. It
few
doesn't
days
have
a
to
week.
whatever.
Yeah, no
Just
big
show
deal.
up whether you do a huge load or you do a little bit. It's
Yeah.
still something, and
Yes.
the 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 motion, the momentum you get from that
Yeah.
also carries through in other parts of your life, right? And then you're just more
Yeah.
productive in general, and then you feel better, and the
Yeah.
better you feel, you're more likely to show up more. And it's crazy how
Then
simple it is,
all of a
Erica.
sudden you're a professional fighter and you're like, what
Damn,
happened?
you just completely simplified resolution. You just show up 3 times
Yeah,
a
you
week.
don't need Chat GPT. You need Erica GPT.
Damn,
Um,
that's
yeah.
hilarious.
Uh,
Yeah,
there, it isn't as complicated
yeah,
um, as people think it is. And, you know, this isn't to meant, what I'm about to say isn't meant to be a black cloud over everything, but 10 out of 10 people don't make it out of this world alive. It is inevitable. Every single person will die. And what we do with the time that we have to make what we have, our time here on this earth, as best as possible, does require uh, health. It does require fitness. It doesn't require fitness to be a competitive athlete.
yeah,
This is who cares about that? We are not competitive athletes.
yeah,
But that shouldn't be a doom, a sense of doom. It should be an empowering concept of like, I have control over how I spend my time here.
yeah,
Of course, things always come up. There's so many things that we have zero control over. Most things in our life we don't have any control over. But the things I do have control over are my health,
Yeah.
unless I have some genetic disease, completely different. I'm not talking about that. Am I moving more? Am I allowing my body to do what it's designed to do? Am I eating foods that benefit my life? Right? Um, do I enjoy the occasional garbage food? Oh yeah, of course I do. Right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you don't ever eat pizza. Pizza's delicious. Of course,
Is that
pizza
your
is
garbage
delicious.
food of choice?
I don't know. On the occasion, I've stopped by McDonald's right down the road because I'll be coming home
Ooh.
from something, and I was like, I'm going to hit up McDonald's because it's right there.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I'll tell you this: I do not eat back-to-back days of McDonald's.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
that McDonald's meal doesn't dictate my lifetime of fitness and nutrition that I've
yeah.
built. It was just a great moment to have at that moment, right? Or a great meal to have at that moment. Nothing
Yeah.
more, nothing less.
And I think, that that's a good point where, every day we make choices, right? If I choose to sit
Mhm.
at home or if I choose to go to the gym, if I choose to work out hard or if I choose to kind of coast a little bit and what I choose to eat and whatnot, but like the choices aren't necessarily linked in the sense that like obviously if you do the same thing over and over again, that becomes a big pattern, right? But,
Yeah.
just because I ate McDonald's today doesn't mean I can't go to the gym tomorrow. And I think people sometimes, like, again, with the self judgment, right? We do try to
Yeah.
be a little bit kind to ourselves still, even though I'm like, hey, just shut the fuck up and go to the gym, right? Like,
Yeah.
but if I make a choice today that I'm not, whether or not I'm proud of or whatever, right? Like sometimes I'm just like, the other day I'm like, I'm gonna go. I worked out and then I was like, I'm gonna go to Wendy's because whatever. I just feel like having nuggies or something. Um, but the
And
next
it was
day,
just because you wanted it. And
it
there's
just that's it.
nothing wrong with that.
That's it. But the
Yes.
next choice is still yours to make. And I think that's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Yeah.
that's
Absolutely.
a really helpful point.
You don't, yeah. And it's like, so let's say I did have McDonald's for dinner because for this, that, or the other, right? I don't really eat McDonald's all that often. It was just right down the road. It's an
Yeah,
example I'm using. But, I've been on an occasional road trip where you're like stopping at a fast food to eat,
that's it.
right? Um, and that's just what it is.
Yeah,
There's no emotion connected to this meal. I'm not going to go to the gym because I ate McDonald's. I'm going to the gym no matter what, no matter what I ate the night before, because I've made that decision to do that.
yeah,
This isn't a punishment for what I
no,
ate. It's just one small component of the type of food that I eat throughout the whole year.
yeah,
And it's just one small meal, and so, you know, don't eat two bad meals back to back, right? So if I had, you know, pancakes and cinnamon rolls and all this
delicious.
delicious breakfast food. And maybe at lunch, I'll have a more protein focused
Yeah,
lunch, and
yeah,
that's it. I enjoyed that, cinnamon roll for breakfast. No shame. It is what it is.
yeah.
Actually, I hate that saying. I can't believe I just said that. Um,
Me
it's not
too.
a big deal. I enjoyed that cinnamon roll, and I'm not going to punish myself for enjoying a cinnamon roll. I'm just going to move on from it, right? Because
Yeah.
if I never allow myself to eat stuff, then that's all I'll think about.
Well, the
And that's
funny thing is
all I
like
want.
that ends up adding stress, and stress makes you eat shitty things. It's like,
Yeah. And then,
uh, yeah,
yes, exactly. Is oh, I had a cinnamon roll. Well, there goes my diet. I'm a big
oh
failure.
man,
And then move
yeah,
back on, right? And that's
I
just not how
yeah.
life is. You don't want life to be like that.
And that's why it's like, the biggest thing with the resolution thing is that it's such a big deal. And realistically, like it's just little choices, little decisions, and nothing's
Yes.
like a huge deal, and you just move on and you just keep moving on.
Just
And like
move on.
keeping that like more relaxed vibe about it, but as you said, show up 3 days a week and that's pretty much it, and like if you can show
Yeah.
up more, great. If you can't, like at least like just go. Whether you're
Yeah.
tired, whether you're feeling crappy. If you're sick, don't bring it to the gym, okay? If you're like at the
Don't
peak
bring
of
it
your
to the gym.
sickness, do
Absolutely.
not bring it to the gym. It's insane when somebody like coughs in my face and I'm like, God damn it.
Why are you here?
Yeah. But you can, as you
Yeah.
said, go for a walk. You can go up and down the stairs. I
Yes.
can like there are times I'm like, I'm not feeling great. I'm just gonna do laundry and clean the house. I'm still moving
Yeah.
around and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
Dude, thank you so much for jumping on here and giving us all
Yeah,
this all these helpful tidbits and
yeah,
big big picture things and the little picture things, all of the
yeah,
things.
yeah.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me, brother. I appreciate
Awesome.
you.
Cool. Hey, I've been saying aloha to everyone, so I'm gonna
Oh,
drop out
yeah,
with
that was
aloha.
a lot.
Mahalo,
For
dude.
sure. Mahalo.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah.